Ready? Let's call the meeting to order. Call the roll.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Rusnellis?
Here.
Mr. Walden?
Here.
Mr. Strong?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we do have a request to move up 2 items on the agenda, P6-16 and P7-16.
Very good. Can we have the petitioner on this item, please? Or no, do you want to let's read them into the record?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, where's my report? Okay, got it. That's okay. Right. Okay. P6-16 is the preliminary plat of Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet Subdivision, Phase 14. The applicant and owner is Center Point Joliet Terminal Railroad, LLC. Their request is for approval of a preliminary plat of subdivision to create 2 industrial lots for future development. The existing zoning is ITC, and that's our Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park zoning. Location, 3751 Cedar Creek Drive. Size is 35 acres. Existing land use, it's an industrial park. Surrounding land use and zoning is as noted. Site history, Center Point Joliet Terminal Railroad, LLC, has petitioned for multiple requests heard and approved by the Plan Commission and the Mayor and City Council for their Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet development. The majority of the property was annexed, zoned IT, and approved with an annexation agreement as part of Phase 1 in December 2008. Phase 2, which included all of Center Point Holdings at the time, was approved in March 2010. The petitioner received approval of a variation that allowed shipping container stacking, and that would be 3 containers high on proposed lot 60 in at the April 2016 Zoning Board of Appeals hearing. Under special information, the petitioner is requesting approval of the Phase 14 preliminary plat in order to allow the subdivision and continued industrial development of the Center Point Intermodal Center. 2 lots are included in this subdivision proposal. Lot 60 is to be 13 acres and will include the 121,000 plus square foot CMI transload facility. Lot 61 will include the remaining 22 acres for the existing wetland, floodplain, wooded buffer, and the naturalized stormwater detention area. The proposed development plans will comply with the existing IT zoning and the city's non-residential design standards and landscape ordinances. All public improvements will be required as per the subdivision regulations and the requirements of the Public Works and Utilities departments. Sewer and water connection, sewer surcharge fees, and development impact fees will be required as per the previously approved annexation agreement. Community Design Review Board met September 1st. Minutes of that meeting are available, and that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Could we have the petitioner on this item, please?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Mike Hansen, attorney for CenterPoint. Thank you for the opportunity to present these petitions. We agree with the staff report and ask for a recommendation for approval.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission? Hearing none, any comments or questions from the audience? Please come up to the microphone, state your name for the record.
Al Gutierrez, 19544 West Sharp Road, Elwood. I just have a problem with the way that the city annexes properties for CenterPoint. Now, if I am, taken, and correct me if I'm wrong, but at the beginning of the spring, there was an article that came on the paper saying that all weeds would be kept to a certain height, no matter if it's industrial or residential. Now, CenterPoint bought all kind of property up that way. I do believe they've got one right now going, I think Cedar Creek Drive and Chicago Street, South Chicago Street. No signage was ever put out about this meeting. Usually they put signs out there, nothing. All of a sudden, you see Homer Tree Service come in there, start taking trees in there, Ryan moves in their equipment, no signage. Now, to me, when it was farm property, I moved out there in 1973, so I know the way the farmers kept up their properties. Everything was taken care of. The state didn't have to worry about cutting the state right away because they kept everything cut up to the first row of beans or the first row of corn. Ragweed out there was basically eliminated. Now, if you go down Brandon Road off of Millsdale Road, and if you go down on Millsdale Road, you have Centerpoint's got their signage right to the west of the tracks over there. They keep that up. The rest of it, the parkway, weeds. Now, the city comes out there, I think they came out there a couple weeks ago, cut maybe 8 foot wide. Come on. There's property that was annexed into the city at Stone City Drive in 53 and Laraway in 53. That property hasn't been cut once this year. When I called the city up about it and complained, they says, don't believe everything you hear that you read in the paper. And then I told them, I says, you know, the veterans didn't build that place out there, and we don't volunteer to keep that place up for the city to back out on their ordinances, right? So what the city did, they came out there and they cut a 20-foot path right next to each side of the curb just for safety purposes because you couldn't see cars coming in or out around Stone City Drive. But what I'm saying is, if you can afford to pick up the tax money on it, you can sure afford to take and back what you're supposed to be doing. Another thing is the blind eye that you people turn out that way. I was picking my kids up from St. Ray's every day. Today, the races are going on. We got up there, the light turned red. We got a city policeman right there in front of Route 66 truck stop, in the car, air conditioning on, hood up. The first race truck runs to the red light after I stop. The one right behind him runs to the red light with him. He doesn't call ahead to the police over there at Schweitzer where they got to go in. Just the city lets it go. They turn a blind eye to it. We're tired of it. When are you going to start backing everything? You're a dream city, but your dreams aren't going to come true if, you know, basically like the train station and everything. Oh, we got big plans for it. That you remind me of Trump. It's not going to happen because you don't have the money. And when you let people like Centerpoint come in there and dictate what the city does or anybody else, you guys aren't out there for the people that have lived out there. Well, maybe what we got to pass is an ordinance to say when you go to go up for annexation or anything, that you include all the people that live in them areas. Not saying you're not allowed there in an annexation agreement because you're not in with the city. We've got a warehouse out at 53 by Sharp Road there that just applied it and got permission to build a fence company over there, yet they don't want to pay for that berm in front of their place to be cut. They don't want to pay the landscaper. But yet, Joliet says, as long as you're going to give us the money, we don't care how you keep that south side up. Now, how many of you have actually gone out that way in the Centerpoint properties? Not too many of you, I'll bet. Because you have?
Out there a lot, yeah.
Often.
Why would you bring in more warehousing before you get the truck problem fixed and before you get your roads fixed?
It has been brought before us, and
Years ago, when Centerpoint first started, that was bought up. Nothing has been done except for the interchange over at I-55, and most of the people that come out of Centerpoint decide we're not going to take that because that's the goofiest intersection or, you know, thing that you ever have to go by. Why would you want to go 2 miles out of the way to go back north? You know, it's not working. So, and another thing is, the city collects 10 or 20% of the bid contract for everything it does. There was supposed to be a road go from Cedar Creek subdivision over to 53, so some people could take that road out and not come down our road, which is not even a dedicated road, but yet we get all the traffic from that subdivision, the city steps away from it. Oh, well, you know, well,
No, I understand a lot of your comments and I appreciate them, but we're kind of jumping all over the map here.
well, it all goes down to the same thing. You turn a blind eye to the south side. Here, a couple weeks ago, I hear something about, oh, the old Clark truck stop over on Route 30, it's an eyesore. Hey, go look at Center Point and everything south, and you're talking about an eyesore. Take a drive over there. See how tall your ragweed is. See how many hydrants that the city, when they have final inspection, it's supposed to be a walk-through inspection, and if they had a walk-through inspection, somebody turned a blind eye because you see valve boxes that are high, hydrants that are low, nothing gets done. When the warehousing went behind our houses, we weren't supposed to have a berm, and that's the way it was brought up to the city council, right? For approval. All right, now, instead of paying for that dirt to get hauled out, we get a 17-foot high berm behind the house. No storms were on our side. Well, there's enough pitch for it to run out to the west, but it first got to go through your yard. Now tell me something, is that what the city's responsible for? Is that the way you guys do business? Tell me, you're all here, you're all board members. I'm sure you've heard this before. And I'm sure if you go out that way, you'll see what we're talking about. You don't go out there and have an inspection and have a flared-in section without a grate, the grate being in front of it out in the water, and you did a final inspection.
Mike, would you like to address some of Mr. Gutierrez's
But,
concerns?
you know, this is the way the city runs. It's been going on for years like that.
Can I ask, who did you talk to, like if the policeman wasn't getting out of the car? Did you call the chief?
What good does it do?
You know what? It does do good, because if you want to get something and somebody's doing something wrong, you should do it. And the people that you talk to, get the names of them, because if they're not doing their job, or they're not passing along, or they're not getting something done, at least there's an accountability factor to do something.
All you people in the council have got to do is go out
Don't
there.
say all you people, because I believe that people should be doing their job.
Their job, but if you don't go out there, on race days, most of the time, even if they're not in their vehicles, the air conditioning's running, the hood's up on them cars, so when they get in there, they're nice and cool. That's doing their job.
And I agree. And if it's hot, you know what, you take the job, you should be out there doing the traffic.
Right, but, and if you call the police department, they say, well, we weren't out there, we don't know what's going on.
Just get the name of the person you do it, because you always have the option of saying, you know what, I'll call the papers and see, and this is who I talked to, and nothing got done.
Yeah,
You've
the
gotta
last,
kinda follow it
let
up.
me tell you something. The last time that my son got sideswiped over 53 and I-80 interchange going on southbound 53, right? When he got sideswiped, they told, he called 911, and the Joliet Police Department told him, get the trailer number off the plate. And when he did that, and he came to file a report, they says, that trailer number don't mean crap. Them trailers come from all over the country here. You got to get the tractor number. Well, the tractor number is only on the front, and it's down low, so you're not never going to get it. And he says, don't follow the truck to its destination. So you tell me, were they doing their job?
No.
Thank you for listening to
But
me.
you know what?
Just two comments, Mr. Commissioner, Chairman. Number one is that, all this property that we're here before today has already been annexed, and the signs were properly posted advertising the meeting here today. Just wanted to clarify that.
Excuse me, then they would have been up 2 weeks ago over on Chicago Street, and they haven't been up.
It's not, it wasn't on Chicago Street.
Well,
It was right at the property location where it's supposed to be.
well, there's things going on Chicago Street, right there at Cedar Creek Drive, on the east side of Chicago Street.
I'm going to have Mr. Thurston address this. He's the guy responsible for posting the signs. You want to tell them where the signs were posted?
On this Phase 14 portion of the site, this lot is significantly disconnected from the main roads here. From Center Point Way, Cedar Creek Drive turns and goes north, and the site, as you can see in this depiction, is to the far northwest there. The sign has to be posted on the site. We posted it on the site at the end of Cedar Creek Drive. This isn't near Chicago Street. This is actually,
No, that's the Center Point Way, I understand. But the weeds are so high in the parkway, you never be able to see it anywhere.
I had sent pictures to the city. They were clearly indicated as to where they were at, with pictures depicting where this, the signs were, is when they were posted by the contractor that we've selected in the past. And as far as for Phase 15, which will be coming up next, we had 3 signs on that one because it's on the hard corner.
Just to clarify something for my own confusion, so this project here, Al, are you talking about a separate project?
Well, the one I'm talking, Center Point takes up a lot of property out
Right.
there. And I understand what they're saying. If they put it on.
No, just the Chicago Street, what you're talking about, the project by Chicago Street, is that a different building than this one?
Well, right here, you got one for Center Point Drive, I think it's Chicago Street, right?
And that project could have already been annexed, they could have already had that property and just be building something, and they don't need to advertise to the public for that.
That's a different,
Center
It's a
Point
completely
goes,
different project.
that's the next item on the agenda.
Center
Right,
Point Way
okay.
has no property on Chicago
Okay.
Street.
But what
All
I'm
right.
saying is, the city, if you annex it, it's just like when you come up for annexation of all the acreage.
Right.
And then, when the retention ponds come in there, you back away from the retention ponds, but when you brought it up to the planning commission and everything, it was for the complete acreage, not just for where the buildings were gonna set. So the city water still goes in there, but you disown everything for them ponds.
Okay. All right, are there any other comments or questions from the audience? Hearing none, a motion is in order for P-6-16.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Rusnellis?
Aye.
Mr. Walden?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Strong?
Aye. Next item, please.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, next item on the agenda is P7-16. That is the preliminary plat of Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet Subdivision Phase 15. The applicant and owner is Center Point Joliet Terminal Railroad LLC. Requested action is approval of a preliminary plat of subdivision to create 10 industrial lots for existing and future development. Existing zoning is ITB, and that is our intermodal terminal transportation zoning. Location, southwest corner of Center Point Way and Schweitzer Road, 62 acres in size. Existing land use is industrial business park. Surrounding land use and zoning is as noted. Site history, Center Point Joliet Terminal Railroad LLC has petitioned for multiple requests heard and approved by the Plan Commission and the Mayor and City Council for their Center Point Intermodal Center at Joliet development. The majority of the property was annexed, zoned IT, and approved with an annexation agreement as part of Phase 1 in December 2008. Phase 2, which included all of Center Point Holdings at the time, was approved in March 2010. Under special information, the petitioner is requesting approval of the Phase 15 preliminary plat in order to allow the subdivision and continued industrial development of the Center Point Intermodal Center. 10 lots are included in this subdivision proposal, which range in size from 1.3 acres to 10 acres. Lots 13 through 17 will be utilized for individual container yard facilities, which are allowed by right within the transportation category of the intermodal terminal zoning district. Lot 11 will include the naturalized stormwater detention area. Lot 9 will be maintained as an ingress-egress easement for the individual lots. Lot 12 will remain undeveloped at this time. The existing wooded area will remain largely intact to the south and west to remain as a natural buffer for adjacent properties. The proposed development plans will comply with the existing IT zoning and the city's non-residential design standards and landscape ordinances. All public improvements will be required as per the subdivision regulations and the requirements of the Public Works and Utilities Departments. Sewer and water connection, sewer surcharge fees, and development impact fees will be required as per the previously approved annexation agreement. The Community Design Review Board met on September 1st of 2016. Minutes of that meeting are available, and that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Could we have the petitioner for this end?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Michael Hanson, attorney for Centerpoint, on behalf of the petitioner. We would recommend the petition be approved and recommend to the city council.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission?
I have one comment. Mr. Gutierrez concerns, is there somebody from the city could meet with him to double check these,
Yes, we'll have a staff member meet with him.
Great.
It sounded like there were maybe multiple departments that we need to get information from to address his questions.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the commission? Any comments or questions from the audience? Hearing none, a motion is in order for P-7-16.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Rusnellis?
Aye.
Mr. Walden?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Strong?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move back to the top of the agenda. Case number A6-16 and a companion case P5-16. The applicants are Thomas and Cheryl Myers, and that's the MJW Farms LLC. They are the owners. Requested action, approval of a preliminary plat. And that is to allow a 4-lot minor subdivision. Existing zoning would be R1B, and that's single-family residential. Location 10255 Chicago Road, and that's at McKenna Road in Kendall County. 144 acres in size. Existing land use is farm. Surrounding land use and zoning is as noted. Site history, the subject site was originally annexed and zoned R1B, and again, that's single-family residential, in 2008. Under special information, the proposed subdivision will create 4 lots within the existing 144-acre farm. The existing homestead for the farm will be included on the 5 acres designated as Lot 1. It is currently under contract to sell to new owners, which has triggered the need for this subdivision. Lot 2 through 4 will include the remainder of the farmstead, which will not be sold or further developed at this time. The amendment to the annexation agreement will include language regarding public improvements and the allowance to stable horses on the 5-acre homestead site. The Community Design Review Board met on September 1st of 2016. Minutes of that meeting are available, and that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Could we have the petitioner for this item?
Good afternoon. My name is Tom Myers. My wife and her brother own this under MJW Farms LLC. Currently, we have a potential buyer for the house, which is on Lot 1, and it's a 5-acre site. And we are coming before the city of Joliet. This was annexed in 2008 under a larger development that didn't go through. So we want to subdivide the 5 acres around the house. And with that, we have dedicated right-of-way in accordance with Public Works on McKenna Road and Chicago Road. That's noted on the preliminary plat. We are working with someone who's interested in Lot 1 to buy. They would like horses, and we would like to remain with the same provisions of that annexation agreement that we have on the current farm. This is about 2 to 3 miles away from any public utilities or water or sewer, so it's probably going to be some time before that gets out to that area.
Anything else to add?
That's all I
Any
have.
comments or questions from the commission?
Yes. You're aware that there's ordinances of having livestock or chickens or horses inside the city?
That's correct. We are working with Marty Shanahan right now on language to the current annexation agreement, and we don't want livestock on this property at all. So he's making sure that the specific language meets his requirements and the city requirements, and drafting that right now. We had a meeting shortly before this with him, and that should all be worked out.
As this progresses and you have other home sites around us, you're still gonna have horses inside the city. And at least me personally, I remember people that had horses outside the city and they were taken away from them. So I just,
Okay.
you know.
Any other comments or questions from the commission?
That's all we're here for, is that one. So
Any
I got-
comments
we
or
got-
questions from the audience?
Yeah, don't.
Just to introduce myself, John Argadelis, also on behalf of the applicant. But I think the idea is just to limit it, you know, in this one case, and since it's so far out from the city proper, if you will.
Very good.
I have a question. When and if sewer and water make it out that way, in the agreement, would they have to connect?
Yes, I think once it gets within proximity of this lot, they would be obligated to connect.
Thank you.
Hearing no further questions, a motion order for A-6-16 and P-5-16.
So moved.
Call the roll.
Mr. Walden?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye?
Mr. Moore?
Nay.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Strong?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, the next item on the agenda is V-3-16, and that is a vacation of a 14-foot by 103-foot portion of an adjacent alley, and that's located at 1125 Loretta Street. The applicant in this matter is Robert Clare. He is an owner of an adjacent property. Requested action, approval of an alley vacation. Purpose to allow the continued use as private property. Existing zoning is R2 Single Family Residential. Location, again, 1125 Loretta Street, and that's west of Plainfield Road. The size of the alley is 14 foot by 103 feet, or a little over 1,400 square feet. Existing land use is unimproved public alley. Surrounding land use and zoning is as noted. There were no previous cases under site history. Under special information, the petitioner wishes to vacate an unimproved adjacent alley located east of his property, which has been utilized as a backyard for 1125 Loretta Street for many years. The city's Public Works Department is not opposed to the alley vacation, subject to a public utility easement being retained for the entire portion to protect overhead ComEd and AT&T lines. As of the writing of the staff report, no adjacent neighbors or additional utility companies had responded in opposition. It should be noted that an existing deck is currently located within the alley. Staff is not requiring it to be removed at this time, but will not allow reconstruction of a new deck within the future easement. The Community Design Review Board met on September 1st. Minutes of that meeting are available, and that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Could we have the petitioner for this item?
Good evening. I'm Robert Kerr. I am the petitioner. Found out the day before I closed on the house that we didn't own the backyard, so hence, that's the reason I'm here. I have photos of it in case anyone wanted to see. It's kind of been a little squatter area. I don't know if I want to pass that around, but would you like to see them?
Yeah, I couldn't get a lot from the pictures that we were given.
I took those the other day, and the two in the front are from Google Earth. I just wanted to maintain it, make it look nice. I mean, the previous owners must have had a handicapped child living there, so there was a ramp. It's been there probably for 30 years. But I just want to clean it up, make it nice, put grass, improve the fence that is shared with consumers, and make it look neat and stop squatters from going back there. Make it look like a real backyard. I actually have my neighbor to the west of me, and he's the other part, and he's going to pursue the other half. And we're going to try to make it look really, because every other home on the block is really nice. This one needs a little work, and my intention is to try to make it look like every other house in the area.
Very good, fantastic. Any comments or questions from the commission?
Yes. When the deck was built on this, it was previous to you?
Oh, that's probably 25 years old. And I believe the deck is not anchored into the ground. It's a floating deck. Probably could be lifted up and moved. It's on 4x4s.
Can I ask how the city can tell me how they got a permit to put that deck up, or was a permit obtained?
I am going to make a huge assumption here, and that is that there was no permit pulled. Otherwise, we would have asked for a plat of survey, which would have shown the alley and would not have approved a permit to put the deck there. So
So-
I'm assuming that there was no permit pulled for this.
If there's no permit, is this the first time this has been brought to the attention of the city, and why we wouldn't have asked them to remove the deck?
It probably is the first, I don't recall any complaints or anything on this particular house. It is an unimproved alley, so oftentimes, again, there's the assumption that it's part of the yard. So the neighbors, maybe they all made the assumption that there was no issue here because it was unimproved. It was part of the yard.
Basically, nobody brought it up.
No one brought it up, no.
You say there's a neighbor behind you that wants to share this?
Yes. Not the part I'm going for, the other half of it. Yes, right there. This is Kevin Sandel, and this is his home, if I may, to the left. So he's going to petition to try to buy the other part of the alley. That way, all of it can be maintained by the neighbors.
Which would still be 14 feet wide, or an addition?
I believe so, but his is a little longer, as you can see. The part that I'm petitioning
He's buying
to
this here.
maintain
This is his
would go
deck
from
and
the
it-
street
this is the neighbor.
to where the blue ends, and then that's his house, and that would be his section.
Okay. I noticed that from the pictures that you brought up here, there's a fence in the back. Who put that fence up?
It's probably been there for 30 years.
Is this
It's
like
as old as,
squatters' rights, or?
I literally just closed on it not too long ago, and it was there, and it was the day before when the survey company came out, and I happened to be there, and he said, you know, you don't own this backyard. I said, really? He says, yeah. So it's been like that forever. So I don't know why that fence is there, but yes, it's been there. It's old. It's starting to deteriorate. That's how old it is.
This is
Has the city notified the people on adjacent behind them to see if they wanted an interest in half of that?
I have the signature from the consumer
Liquors?
liquors, and also the person to my right, Mr. Cruz. I met him the other day. He just came back from vacation. He said he had no interest. He said, go for it. He saw the sign. I told him about the meeting. He's hardly ever there. He said, go for it.
Very good. Any other comments or questions from the commission? Any comments or questions from the audience? Hearing none, a motion's in order for...
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Sandel. I own the house and the empty lot adjacent to, right to the west of his property right there. I didn't realize that it was feasible to buy the alley until the sign went up, and I talked to Gil here. So I'm going to be in the process of filing the petition for vacancy on the remainder of the alley, which the planning commissioner I talked to said that would be advantageous for the city. It would improve the ability to secure it because we've had squatters back there, people stopping in consumers and drinking behind it, throwing their beer cans and such. We've been maintaining it since I've owned the house and the lot, 5-6 years, so I think it would be beneficial if it was all resolved. I've spoken, in fact, today to Tony, who's the owner of the service center, and he's on the fence on whether he wants to relinquish total right for me to buy it. So we're gonna be communicating, me and him, on whether or not one or either of us is going to follow through and put in the petition and buy it, or submit it so that we could buy it from
Will you
the-
be fencing that in? after
Yeah,
you-
that's the main deal. Me and Tony would like to close off access from Catherine Street so that folks can't wander through there as a cut-through to get to consumers or stop by there after they pick up their product and drink it back there.
Or sleep in the backyard.
We also have people with dogs who think that's fair game back there it's grass and they can, walk their dogs. So with a fence there and a note that says it's private property, we'll be able to put an end to that.
Very good. So you are in favor of this petition?
I'm in favor of Gil's to clean it up. It's totally been neglected with the people squatting on it with the deck and such. We kind of left them alone. I could have complained. I was the owner adjacent. I just kind of let it slide. They weren't savory people. Sometimes I didn't want to, rustle the bushes. The only concern I have is that my lot, which is adjacent to them, is a separate property. And while the commission said that I couldn't feasibly build on it, I have a dispute with my attorney who says, yeah, you could maybe build on it if you pursued it with gusto. It would have to honor the current setbacks and such. But it is a separate lot, and it could maybe accommodate a house or some other improvement as rental property or whatever I'd want to do with it. If this is pursued and executed, my only question is would I have access in any way, shape, or form through that alley if the property needed alley access for a garage in the back? I don't anticipate doing that, but it kind of impacts that property, so it's only ever going to be a backyard if I don't own either side of that alley, so that I could maybe do that someday down the road.
So looking at this aerial view, the picture that's up, you own the empty lot but not the house?
I own both.
Okay. Then you, as the owner of the home, have to protect your interest to the lot in the middle by guaranteeing yourself access. By allowing him to purchase this alleyway that would be his property and you would not be able to use it. There's gonna be an easement there so that ComEd could come in and fix their utility lines.
Right.
But no, you would not be able to use his property as your alley.
Right. So the resolve to that is if I can access via Catherine Street, if that was feasible, that would be an alternative. There's no apron there, but you could either access from Loretta or Catherine. Either one would suffice, but I wouldn't own the other part of the lot until we executed that. So this is where I'm at. I'm for Gil getting what he needs to improve his property. He's definitely going to make it better for the neighborhood. That's the worst property in the neighborhood. I don't mean to slight him.
It is.
And his improvement will greatly improve everybody's values in the neighborhood. My only concern is I might want to further pursue this with Tony on whether he's going to insist that he gets half of the remainder, and if that's the case, then I'm kind of in the middle. I own the most frontage to the alley of all the properties there. So I'm gonna have to resolve that, and I guess I'm saying maybe we need to take that into consideration. If the city will take my petition and maybe consider it as a package when we resolve the issue with Tony, that would be favorable for me. And that's pretty much where I stand on it.
Is part of this house that the petitioner owns in the right-of-way? If you look at the plat, it looks like part of the house is in the right-of-way.
Oh, it's a shed? Yeah, it's like 6 inches. It's a shed, it's not the house.
No, actually, the way this is drawn, it looks like it's on it's part of the house, a corner of the
Oh,
house.
that little thing's a shed. That little thing up there says 8.5?
No, I'm talking about the corner that's sticking into the
Yeah,
right-of-way.
there
Oh,
appear,
yeah.
Where it says
Yeah, that's part of the house.
6.8, 5.95.
Wow.
So this has to be resolved regardless?
that's correct, yeah.
Okay. Has to be resolved. Okay. Any other comments or questions?
No.
Okay. Hearing none, a motion is in order for V-3-16.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Roosnellis?
Aye.
Mr. Walden?
Aye.
Mr. Strong?
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have no items this month for study session. Is there a motion for approval of the August 18th Plan Commission meetings? Minutes, I'm sorry.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.